This train.
Yeah, two different people's receipts. There you go, there's some good shots.
Glorious. Windsor Castle. You want to start looking?
Real American barbecue.
Historical Windsor. This is where I want to get my swag.
There's a king and queen gift shop over there.
You know, I've been good. Been good. I haven't gotten much. I don't want pizza. I wouldn't mind some English, British food.
What about something like shepherd's pie or toad in the hole?
Yes, exactly. We're on the same
It's all Korean. It's burritos.
paths. I bet the station is where you're supposed to get it, but I wanted to come out first. Marks and Spencer. Some of the things she says, I'm sure she says for the reaction. But we gotta just walk in there. Pardon me?
Apple store.
You know.
Lasted a good 45 seconds.
You're funny. Menu? As much as my place. Oh. Put you on YouTube, not your face though.
No, that's fine.
Okay. And these are the cold ones, right?
Yeah. And we order food here too. No, that's okay. Oh, yeah.
Hi. It's that station. She was queen right before she was. I wonder if they have tickets. You think of, we got some prime property
This is
here.
nice. We're walking on tombstones.
Was it right?
Well, they have paths on
Oh,
tombstones.
look at that. Let's see. You think they were buried underneath here?
No.
Art here today. That's pretty.
Hey, pal.
The Last Supper. Look at that. See, this is amazing.
Yesterday it was very wet, very long.
Rejected.
Rolls Royce, did you hear what Rolls Royce is going away? He loans this French British.
Out the other side.
Nice turn. Nicely done.
He's done this before.
I think so. Windsor Majesty.
Before you get out of the way. Whoa.
emergency regulations. The main exits from this vessel consist of the two gateways on either side of the front cabin, those being the one which you entered by and the one on the opposite side. In the highly unlikely event of an emergency, additional exits may be used at the direction of the skipper and crew. These consist of the large sliding windows in the lower saloon, the windows or open sides in the front cabin, and the open sides around the upper deck. Buoyant apparatus consisting of life rings and life rafts is stored around the outsides of the upper deck and above the front cabin. In the event of any emergency, please remain calm and await further instructions from the skipper and crew. Open on any part of this boat. We thank you for your cooperation, and if you have any questions or if there is anything we can do to make your trip more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to ask a member of staff.
Our college is going to talk about the bar on board. Unfortunately, the crew's under 18 today, so we're not able to serve any alcohol aboard, but we can serve hot drinks.
Promotions from time to time, so please ask about these. For instance, 2 or more of you may wish to share a jug of Pimm's, the perfect traditional drink to enjoy on the river. There's no need to leave your seat as a member wants to be if you're in too much of a hurry. To our left is Jacob's Island, formerly called Corporation Island, who built model aeroplanes which he then sold to the boys of Eton College. A record of 727 miles per hour. Cam's final design was the Harrier, which remained in RAF service for 50. The 187-foot central span is not secured to the sides in any way. It simply rests there under its own weight on 6 bearings, allowing for expansion and contraction of the ironworks during temperature changes.
Sail. Get on mine.
In the wild.
Is Athens, marked by a section of raised concrete riverbank with a bench on top. It was here that the boys of Eton College used to have their swimming lessons in the days before they had their own pool. Just below the bench is a stone wall bearing the instruction, get at once into the water or behind screens whenever a boat comes in sight with ladies aboard, as in those days the boys used to swim naked in the style of the ancient Greeks, hence the name Athens. Looking to our left now, through the trees, we can see across the track. This is the Windsor Racecourse yacht basin, situated on the Mill Stream which forms Ray's Island. As we travel along the tree line are tufted ducks with their bright yellow eyes showing clearly against the black neck, mandarin duck, and there have been sightings of other species such as merganser and pochard. Herons are often this large black diving bird as a saltwater species, but in recent years they have started to colonise the Thames, no doubt having reached the water. There is the whale family, which includes the moorhen with its black body and red face, in the introduction. More common is the mink, which although not a native species, has done very well on the Thames. Originally bred in captivity for their fur, the 45 of these locking weir systems, spaced along this section which is known as the Upper Thames. The Upper Thames drops in elevation by about 300 London. Beyond Teddington, the remaining 75 miles of the Thames becomes tidal as it flows through London and on into the North Sea. This gives a total length of 215 miles. The weir ahead of us is a bit like a dam spanning the main channel, and it is this which does the main job of controlling the flow and subsequently the level. The lockkeeper does this by raising or lowering the individual gates, usually in response to recent rainfall. Allowing faster flow during wet weather prevents a build-up in level which could lead to flooding, while in dry weather the weir gates are closed in, holding the water back but maintaining a safe depth for boats to navigate. Indeed, the lockkeepers maintain a chain of communication along the river, keeping the Upper Thames at a more or less constant level throughout the year. The Slough Industrial Estate, reckoned to be the largest in Western Europe. The chimneys form part of a panel, and in more recent years the town was used as the backdrop for the comedy series The Office, starring Ricky Gervais and Martin Freeman. students became known as oppidums from the Latin word oppidum, meaning town. In fact, in those days, the boys were required to speak Latin at all times, risking punishment if they failed to do so. The birds are also checked for weight and general condition. The swan's diet consists mainly of green vegetation, and it's for this to and from the course whenever there is a race meeting or any other event being held here. The journey takes a little under 10 minutes each way and allows racegoers to have a relaxing drink on board whilst avoiding the tedious traffic jams which always occur on race days. As we once again round Clue Point, we will pass the grounds of the Clue Mill House to our right, the main building being a red brick Georgian house set back from the river beyond the two cottages which are immediately visible. The mill has stood on this site since the 10th century and was mentioned in the Domesday Book as having a value of 10 shillings. It was powered by the mill stream which forms Ray's Island and continued to mill corn until 1900. After this time it was converted to residential use, and during the 1970s it was the home of the British actor Michael Caine. In 1980 he sold the house to Jimmy Page, the guitarist in Led Zeppelin, who then sold the house sometime during the 1990s, but then a few years later took the opportunity to buy the house for a second time before finally selling it again in 2008. The land to our right, from the mill house to the bridge ahead, including White Lily's Island, forms part of Clua village. This is the oldest part of Windsor, as there was a Saxon settlement on this site before the time of the Norman conquest. The present town of Windsor started to develop after 1070, when William the Conqueror first laid the foundations of Windsor Castle. Was completed in 1966 and joins Windsor up with the M4 about 2 miles up to the left. An interesting feature of this bridge is the line of red squares which span the bridge just below the handrail. These are for the benefit of swans. It was found that swans have great difficulty distinguishing shades of grey. Consequently, on cloudy days, swans flying along the river will often not see the bridge until the last moment, having to swerve sharply to avoid it. And on a few occasions, a rather angry swan has been found walking clumsily along the carriageway, holding up a line of traffic. It was found that swans are able to see the colour red quite easily, so these markers were put on both sides of the bridge to help them with their navigation. Sometimes we see boats in the Thames with interesting histories, in particular those which took part in Operation Dynamo in 1940. These are the Dunkirk little ships. Operation Dynamo lasted 9 days and resulted in over 1/3 Allied troops being rescued from the beaches of Dunkirk on the coast of northern France. The operation was planned by Vice Admiral Ramsay, who sent out an appeal to private boat owners on operators of small commercial craft who could get close to the shore. Around 800 boats were hastily assembled, of which about 150 are still in existence. Often being of wooden construction, these little ships can usually be recognised by a small brass plaque on the wheelhouse inscribed Dunkirk 1940. They may also fly the flag of the Association of Dunkirk Little Ships, which is the cross of St George with the crest of Dunkirk in the centre. On the left-hand bank between here and the railway bridge, we'll pass 2 small green footbridges. These are the upper and lower this site for its all-round defensibility with views along the Thames Valley, allowing him to guard the western approaches to London. Prior to the Norman conquest, Edward the Confessor had held court at the Royal Manor of Kingsborough, in what we now know as Old Windsor, until his death in January 1066. The proximity to the River Thames was no doubt the prime reason for choosing this location, the waterway being the main highway to London in the east. The concept of castles was unknown to the Saxons, and it was part of William's plan to ensure the permanence of the conquest. The castle has been added to by various monarchs, not always to the benefit of its appearance, until the arrival was still proud of the surrounding structures. An extra 32 feet was added to its height, making it now stand at 220 feet above the level of the river at Windsor. On top of the round tower is the very important flagstaff, where traditionally the reigning monarch will fly their own royal standard when they are in residence at the castle, and when the monarch is not in residence, the Union flag is flown. As we approach the underground bridge between Windsor and Eton, this stood until 1819 and used to charge tolls for crossing the bridge and was able to carry all roads traffic heading north out of Windsor. The white framed bay window to the right of the bridge is part of the Sir Christopher Wren Hotel, so called because for many years it was believed that the building was built and lived in by Sir Christopher Wren, the architect of the 17th and 18th centuries. However, in recent years it was really time on the River Thames. Our boats are available day and evening for a range of trips, including a party, wedding reception or a company event. Our boats can provide the perfect venue and we operate all year round. So whether you're please make sure that you have all your personal belongings with you. And once again, thank you very much for cruising with us today.
That was great.
Thank you.
So,
What do you think?
and then not have enough sufficient width.
We can walk though, right? I like these gates. It's not. I know. Quite nice. It's about the same, right? Maybe a little more.
Prince Consort cottages.
A pug.
2-bedroom is luxury.
No, I'm a pug.
2-bedroom.
Is that the one?
No, it's actually a 3-bedroom.
Oh, that's nice. No price.
It's on for 5.5.
Pricey.
3-bedroom, front and back garden.
That's lovely, darling. Thank you.
Looks like a pub. It might have food. Small. We. Plenty of stuff.
just missed it.
Lifts are available.
4, 5, 6.